Oh, hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining. My name's John Jarvis, or JJ for short, and I'm a technical consultant here at Somerford Associates. Today, we're going to be talking about accelerating cloud adoption with the HashiCorp Cloud Platform. We're going to talk a bit about, going to give you an overview of the services available, and then, and at the same time, give you a few of the key benefits of each of the sub offerings, the details of which we're going to get into. So yes, again, JJ, I'm a certified HashiCorp implementation professional. That's CHIP for short in Terraform and Vault, which are two of the services that are available on the HashiCorp Cloud Platform. First, why don't we get into a bit of an overview of what's in store. So for those who aren't familiar with HashiCorp themselves and their offerings, we're going to do a brief overview, and then we're going to also look at really the theme of all their offerings, which is the cloud operating model and how that all the pieces play in, or it's very plug and play, how they play with other options within that. Then we're going to get into the platform itself. We're going to talk about well, all the components of it, but then we'll go into a bit more detail on HCP Vault and Terraform Cloud. And we're going to also talk a bit about HCP Boundary, because that's a key part of HashiCorp's zero trust security, low trust security solution. So we'll talk a bit about the benefits that that can give you as well. And we'll just talk a little bit about the networking behind it all, or rather how you don't need to worry about that. And then I'll just point you to some further reading. So hopefully that won't be too heavy today. Again, it's just supposed to be an overview, and if you have questions, you'll have all the details on how to get in touch at the end. Okay. So yeah, as we talked about, let's start with what HashiCorp calls the cloud operating model, and how it gives you what's called low trust or zero trust security, enabling that automation that brings efficiency without compromising your security posture. To do that, you need a few different components, and today we'll focus on some of those. You see them on the right there, all of HashiCorp's products. And we will be talking about ones outside of zero trust security today briefly. But yeah, the ones to keep in mind certainly are Vault with its new branding, as you see, Consul, and Boundary, again, all of which are available on the SaaS platform. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the model itself. I don't know about you, but I'm certainly old enough to remember what seemed like a simpler time. Security came from what you could call a castle and moat model, where the perimeter was hardened, and successful checks at it meant effectively complete trust in that connection and the entities behind it. Possibly a bit of an oversimplification, but honestly, as I remember it, not really. But now, increasingly, we're talking about modern data centers. Maybe this represents a migration for an organization, but equally it could represent a steady state, if you will, of a hybrid organization that has good reasons to keep some systems private and maybe even on premises. Those systems of record you see there. This and more, happily, fits into what HashiCorp calls the cloud operating model. To reiterate, an organization's core business databases and internal applications may continue to reside on infrastructure in existing data centers. As a result, enterprises end up with a mix of multiple public and private cloud environments, and maybe even private environments on premises. I mentioned steady state, but really organizations will be looking to the future, attempting to avoid being locked in with a particular technology or burdened with sluggish tooling when they determine that a pivot in products or services would be advantageous or even critical. So enter the dynamic multi-cloud data center that you see there in the middle. Again, this is the foundation of the cloud operating model. Okay. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what we're talking about here, and you can see yourselves or your organizations somewhere in that. Let's talk about the SaaS offering now of these products, which I'll try to call HCP throughout, but I may call high performance computing accidentally HPC at some point, and now I've of course cursed myself. Okay, so you sign up for a free trial of this services. This is the splash page that you get. Well, I thought it would be a good way to open up the talk, because it will give us a chance to talk about all of what you see here very briefly. So top left, HashiCorp Cloud Platform HCP Boundary is an intelligent proxy that automates user and host onboarding and provisions access permissions. So again, a key component of that zero trust security offering. And we'll talk a little bit more about Boundary later, as you recall from the agenda. HCP Consul, another key component of that. It lets you start using Consul for service discovery and service mesh with less setup time. That's a key message for all of the HCP offerings. That that time to market, time to day zero operations, as it were. It does this by providing fully managed Consul servers. Again, Consul offers service discovery, service mesh, traffic management, and automated updates to network infrastructure devices. HCP Packer is a bit of a different one. It's a cross-cloud image gallery for Packer. It uses metadata to track images, their artifacts, their iterations, as well as their build artifacts across clouds. So you can, it's a metadata service effectively to help you coordinate all that. So you can fetch the latest iteration of an image using the HCP Packer API to use across downstream builds and provisioning pipelines, and revoke images using automation. So it's kind of keeping, it's not just about having that golden image. Of course, there's going to be problems with it. You're going to discover vulnerabilities and that kind of thing. And it's about tracing all of those through the entire build. You know, the key component of shifting left, as they say, in your security posture and policy. HCP Vault helps protect workloads and sensitive data across any environment by enabling users to secure, store, and tightly control access to tokens, passwords, certificates, and encryption keys within one unified cloud platform. You know, secrets writ large, basically. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Finally, HCP Waypoint is a deployment platform that simplifies how developers release applications. Waypoint on the HashiCorp Cloud Platform allows you to manage your application lifecycle without needing to maintain a Waypoint server and its associated infrastructure. We won't really be getting into that now, and as you see, it's in beta as well, but another fascinating product, absolutely. And it's, you know, its design goals are to let your developers develop. It's heavy on the dev, less on the ops, because as we know, a lot of the devs really shine in the former, but may not have as much of an interest in the latter. Okay, let's talk about Vault. So again, I'm just going through this using my own account here just to give you an idea of what you would see initially, because I think a key message I want to get across in this whole talk is it really is that simple to to get through to running this stuff, and that is, as I say, a key part of the philosophy behind the platform. So as stated, HCP Vault, like its self-hosted version, helps protect workloads and sensitive data across any environment by enabling users to secure, store, and tightly control access to any kind of secret. So you get these push button deployments of that, fully managed infrastructure, And again, that one unified workflow, leaving the day-to-day functioning of the platform to HashiCorp's experts, while your teams focus on delivering those Vault services across the dynamic environments we've been talking about just today. So the other thing I wanted to highlight here specifically, you see it's kind of hinted at here, is these templates. So let's go into the first one here where we've got key value secrets. And now with this is called templating basically. And now with this templating, even that part of the job that, those Vault services that your teams are going to be setting up, even that part of the job comes together much quicker now. Allowing, let's say, getting that, often we see a first use case, migrating to Vault services is to consolidate all of these key value stores that you might have around your organization that you're using, or, heaven forbid, hard coding secrets into your code or whatever, pulling all that stuff out, centrally managing it in a Vault, and then going from there on to other use cases like, dynamic secrets, for example, where you could, the workflow is exactly the same, but now without any extra effort on the part of your Vault administrators or operators, those secrets are only useful for a limited amount of time. And that's really important in things like data breaches and things like that, of course, which we don't want to think about, but we have to plan for. So yes, getting back to the templating, as you see here on the screen, it gives you really simple outline of what the template is, the key features of it. You see here app role is mentioned as well, which is, if you're doing any automated provisioning of secrets, it's going to be your bread and butter for sure. But that's another topic for another time. Main thing I want to point out here is you can literally just pick your cloud provider, in this case AWS. Azure is also available, and it'll give you the cost breakdown, and there'll be a bunch of different tiers. You probably want to just start with development, start playing around with it initially, but then as you get ready to go into production, you can seamlessly migrate that over and create, and you're off to the races. Similarly, excuse me, you may want to, another key use case for Vault is PKI, and in particular, setting up Vault as an interim certificate authority for your internal PKI, public key infrastructure. And again, that's a template where you can literally just set it up, and it gives you all the roles you need and all that kind of stuff. So, and again, it is just a simple matter of, and you see there, Azure in this case, just to show you that it's it really is that simple to switch between and have them available. So that was a whirlwind tour of Vault. Obviously, it also plays a key role in the zero trust security solution. Boundary is a powerful product in itself, but its integrations with Vault are really impressive. Not really a subject for today, but definitely something you should look into if that's what your functionality that you're looking for in your organization. Just to tease it a little bit further, the idea that you can actually have that remote access, we've been talking about for the last 3 years now, that remote access, but you can have it in such a way that the infrastructure in your organization can be dynamic. These databases that you need or whatever can come up or down as needs be, and that's all part of this. And the key point with the Vault integration, those creds will never actually touch the endpoint. They'll never go onto that phone. They'll never go onto that laptop. So, dynamic secrets is obviously great, but no secrets is even better if you leave that laptop on the bus. That's basically what I'm trying to get at. But again, a topic for another time. Move along, JJ, move along. All right. Terraform, it kind of doesn't have quite the right naming convention, right? Because it's existed before. Terraform Cloud's been around for a while, but for those who aren't familiar with it, it's an application that helps teams use Terraform together. It manages Terraform runs, as they're called, in a consistent and reliable environment, and includes easy access to shared state, State is a whole other topic, obviously. So hopefully it's kind of Terraform's memory. I'll just quickly say. So shared state and secret data, access controls for approving changes to infrastructure, a private registry for sharing Terraform modules. Massive benefit and a big topic. Again, too much for today. Detailed policy controls for governing the contents of Terraform configurations, and that's just a few of the features. Terraform Cloud's available as a hosted service, obviously, as a SaaS. Small teams can sign up for free to connect Terraform to version control, share variables, run Terraform in a stable remote environment, and securely store a remote state. It can really just be that simple if you wanted that use case to start out with. Paid editions allow you to add more than 5 users, create teams with different levels of permissions, sort of, full RBAC kind of system, and collaborate more effectively. Terraform Cloud Plus Edition allows organizations to enable audit logging, continuous validation, and something introduced late last year, I think it was, automated state drift detection. Because you obviously don't just deploy this stuff and that's it. It continues to live, and it will, no matter what you do, slowly drift away from the code that describes it. It's about keeping, that's a whole other topic again. All right, back on track. Boundary. So HCP boundary, get it right, enhances Boundary's open source offering by assuming responsibility for maintaining, monitoring, and scaling the Boundary deployment. Just quickly on that, because I haven't actually explicitly said it, a lot of HashiCorp's products include an open source edition and an enterprise edition, but those are both self-hosted. The focus of today is, yes, those products are great, and absolutely, Somerford's happy to talk to you about them, but it's that that speed of deployment, those push button deployments, and just getting access to the services as quickly as possible. That's kind of the focus of today. But in other cases, I did want to say that for Vault, for example, if you do need to self-host, Vault Enterprise is available and has all of the features that you would expect, for production deployments of in medium to large organizations and that kind of thing. Boundary is a bit of an exception. I'm not going to say that there isn't an enterprise that you can, if you need to self-host, the line is basically talk to HashiCorp, because what they're pushing is, once you've decided that the open source edition is something that you're interested in, come on over to this particular product and really get enterprise grade services up and running. And what does that mean? Specifically, what's it offering? Well, it's an identity platform integration, identity platform integration with Microsoft, Azure Active Directory, and Okta, along with many other identity platforms that support OpenID Connect to onboard trusted identities and delegate authentication. It offers role-based access control, again, to provide broad or fine-grained access to people throughout your organization. It provides passwordless authentication for seamless integration with dynamic secrets and Vault. That's that tight integration that I was hinting at earlier. It offers automated service discovery for streamlined discovery and configuration of targets. And targets is a loose term for those hosts that you want access to, and then we'll group those together in what's called dynamic host catalogs, which is a feature that's available with both Microsoft Azure and AWS, as well as direct HashiCorp Terraform integrations to pull in resources under management. So the idea with all that is that you don't need to, much like another common theme, if you've ever heard me talk about, the HashiStack is this abstraction that it offers, right? In terms of unifying the workflows. So, you often, the word is brittle usually. Don't hear me talk about the brittleness of an IP based infrastructure, in that, things go down, go up, that kind of thing. And it's normally, it was back in the day, it was a ticketing system, right? It's like, oh, can you point me to the new load balancer, this kind of thing or whatever. And now we're in the automated space where that's just happening all the time, right? So it's coming up that layer, adding that abstraction layer in there so that you can have intentions about what is permitted without saying it has to be that particular endpoint. And so that's where dynamic host catalogs come in. It's like, I'm a DBA. Well, I'm a DBA. I'm going to authenticate as a DBA, and then Boundary is going to say, well, as a DBA, you're going to want to have access to these hosts because that's, this host catalog, because that's where they all live, and it's dynamic and it'll change, and it depends. If you connect to it on Wednesday, the contents of it could be different than Friday, and it's all working the same way, and you don't need to be aware of that, and it's still secure. That's the idea. Wow, that was a bit of an aside, sorry. And also another feature of Boundary, session visibility and logging to get insights into session metrics, events, logs, and traces with the ability to export data to business intelligence and event monitoring tools. Finally, I'm not going to get into the architecture of Boundary because it's quite a complex topic, to be honest. But one thing that you might be thinking is, well, if this is going to replace my VPN, what you're saying the replacement is going to be hosted? I trust HashiCorp, but well, the one detail I will tell you about Boundary's architecture is the functionality is broken up into two components. You don't need to necessarily remember this, but the idea is that controllers, one aspect of it, will still sit within the HCP platform, it'll be run by HashiCorp, but the workers themselves, the Boundary workers, they can, with HCP Boundary, they can be self-managed. So you can host them on your own infrastructure. What does that mean? So self-managed workers allow Boundary users such as yourself to securely connect to private endpoints without exposing an organization's networks to the public, or to HashiCorp managed resources. All session activity is proxied by the organization's worker nodes. So it's already been considered in the design of this, designing it securely, that HCP Boundary does not need to know the internal details of your network, and this has been implemented through that splitting up and allowing you to host your own Boundary workers and keep control of that networking information. Hopefully, I haven't lost you there. Again, please do look out at the end for our contact information. More than happy to talk you through all this if it's of interest. Just a final topic on that, exposing networking information and whatnot. Key component, kind of an underlying piece that you didn't see in the splash at the beginning. The HashiCorp virtual network makes HCP networking possible. An HVN delegates an IPv4 CIDR range that HCP uses to automatically create resources in your cloud network, so you don't have to worry about those details. Of course, you can also use that peering to ensure, for example, that your HCP Vault deployment isn't internet accessible, hosting it right alongside your other cloud resources that will use it without ever having to traverse that horrid internet. Nobody wants their Vault to be internet accessible. And it's available in all the regions you'd expect. Of course, as listed here with AWS, but also with Azure. So again, very quick intro to HCP, HashiCorp Cloud Platform. I don't think I said it wrong once. Shouldn't have given that one away. But yes, as with everything that HashiCorp produces, you can get more information at what they call developer.hashicorp.com, and that includes information, but it also includes tutorials that you can even run some hands-on stuff in your browser, but also have access to code on GitHub that you can pull down and play around with, canned demos, as it were, and that kind of thing. So I definitely recommend that. But as I say, you don't need to rely. You can come straight to us if you want, absolutely, and we'd love to hear from you. So that just leaves me to thank you for your time and attention. And I don't know where you are in the world right now, but it's a very sunny day where I am right now. So I hope you can enjoy the rest of whatever you have planned for yours, and take care.